Islam was.
Islam.
Great meeting is on. We're now under the influence of the Moorish Science Temple of America and the Moorish Divine and National Movement, founded by our Holy Prophet Noble Jew Ali in the year 1913 AD in Newark, New Jersey. We commence our meetings by rising and observing the Moorish American prayer. All those who do not wish to participate in the prayer may stay seated in solid benediction. All those that do, we rise and face the east. Rise with 5 fingers on the left, 2 fingers on the right. Repeat after Brother Osman Ali Day.
Islam.
Islam.
Allah.
Allah.
The Father of the universe.
The Father of the universe.
The Father of love.
The Father of love.
Truth.
Truth.
Peace.
Peace.
Freedom.
Freedom.
And justice.
And justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide.
My guide.
And my salvation.
And my salvation.
By night.
By night.
And by day.
And by day.
Through His holy prophet.
Through His holy prophet.
Drew Ali.
Drew Ali.
Amen.
Amen.
Islam.
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 We're now going to have the reading of our divine constitution and bylaws. Constitution is our national document, our domestic document for our body politic, known as Moorish American, which is our free national name and our free national government. So it's also referred to as our national standards. Islam. So we're going to recite them and we're going to vibrate with them. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and the Chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs, if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly, according to the Circle 7, in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on the Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on the Friday the first man departed out of flesh, and ascended into his Father, God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Islam?
Islam.
Act number 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are not, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of the said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names was given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Jew Ali, the Prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, who inhabited the northwestern and the southwestern shores of Africa. Islam?
Islam.
Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings. and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet Noble Drew Ali through the guidance of his father, God Allah. Islam?
Islam.
Friday, March 1st, 1929. This is an excerpt from my Moorish Guide in the year 1929. Prophet makes plea to the nation. Our divine and national movement stands for specific grand principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And I, the Prophet, am applying to all loyal, faithful Moors, members, and the American citizens to help me in my great uplifting act of uplifting fallen humanity among the Asiatic race and nation. For I have suffered much severely in the past through a misunderstanding of what the movement was dedicated to. It is the great God Allah alone that guides the destiny of the divine and national movement. I know all true American citizens are identified by national descent names to answer and apply to the free national constitution of this free national republic of the United States of America. That's why I am calling on all true national citizens to help me morally and financially in my great work I am doing to help this national government. For without a free national name, without a descent flag of your forefathers, there is not a national divine title of the government in which we live. This is from your true and divine prophet unto all American and foreign sympathizers. From the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Islam?
Islam.
That will conclude the opening of the meeting. Now we will go into our question and answer period, known as the 101s. Right, Moors, hope y'all ready to exercise.
Islam.
Islam?
Islam.
Who do we refer to at times as being the great God?
Allah.
And who is Allah?
Allah is the Father of the universe.
Can we see him?
No.
Well, where's the nearest place we can meet him?
In the heart.
Who is the founder?
Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
Founder of what?
The Moorish Science Temple of America.
What year was it founded?
1913 AD.
What is his nationality?
Moorish American.
What is your nationality?
Moorish American.
What was the nationality of Ruth?
Ruth was a Moabite.
And what is the modern name for Moabites?
Moroccans.
And where is the Moroccan Empire?
Northwestern Mexico.
What is the modern name for Mexico?
Africa.
What is an angel?
An angel is the God of Allah manifested in human flesh.
And what are angels used for?
To carry message to the four corners of the world, to all nations.
Name the four corners.
North, south, east, and west.
Islam. What kind of flag is the Moorish?
It is a red flag with a 5-pointed green star in the center.
And what do the 5 points represent?
Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
Which is our holy day?
Friday.
Why?
Because Friday is the day which man was formed in the flesh. It's on Friday we make a partner out of our flesh.
What is a prophet?
A prophet is God of Allah manifested in the flesh.
And what is our prophet to us?
He was an angel of Allah who was sent to bring the everlasting gospel of Allah.
What is truth?
Truth is art.
So what is art?
Art is Allah.
Can truth change?
Truth cannot change or pass away.
At what place on earth was the physical part of man formed?
In the Garden of Eden in the land.
So where is the garden?
In the land of Canaan in the city of Mecca.
What are the words of the AC of the MST of A?
Adam, chamber of the Moorish Science Temple of America, third heaven.
How many heavens are there?
Three.
7 heavens. Who are Adam and Eve?
They are the mothers and fathers of the human family, Asiatics and Muslims.
So where did they go?
They went into Asia.
Somebody give me a demonstration on that. On how did they go, or why did they go into Asia? Yes, Brother Clifford.
Islam. Our rise give praise to the great Father God Allah, orchestrated all the 7 places of existence. I can honor to his illustrious prophet, Muhammad Ali, founder of the Moorish Science Temple, Medical Lounge, the Moorish Divine Natural Principle. I can honor to my Grand Sheikh on this Bay. I can honor to Chairman of Sheikh Speaker Evan Abtuna Bay. I can honor to officers on staff. I can honor to members here, and visitors online who are all trying to get understanding of what it is that we're called to do. Islam?
Islam.
And one of the ones asked and said, where's the Garden of Eden? It's the land of Canaan in the city of Mecca. They asked who are Adam and Eve. There's the mothers and fathers of the human family, Asiatics and Muslims. They said, where did they go? They went into Asia. They said, who are going to hold the city today to keep the unbelievers away? Angels. What's the money for those angels? Asiatics. Are the Moorish American in relation to those angels? Yes, we all have the same fathers and mothers. So tell them we are Asian. We are from Asia. This is where we come from. These are our forefathers. No matter what name we choose to classify ourselves from, we go back to the origin where we come from. It all stem back to Asia. Islam.
Why did Adam and
Excuse
Eve go
me.
to
Hold
Asia?
on. You got a demonstration for that, Osman?
Not right now.
All right, Islam. Who else would like to exercise their thought on this particular question? Don't be afraid to exercise. So I'm going to repeat it. Who are Adam and Eve?
They're the mothers and fathers of the human family, the Asiatics and the Muslims.
So they are the mothers and the fathers of the human family, right? And where was the first physical man formed?
In the Garden of Eden.
Where is that?
In the city of Mecca.
The land of Canaan,
Canaan,
city
city
of
of
Mecca.
Mecca.
So was Mecca or the Garden of Eden or Canaan in Asia?
Islam.
Yes.
So if the question is asking you where did they go, and the answer is into Asia, then where were they at?
Already in it. That's the holy land of Canaan.
Osman had his hand up. What you got?
Before they came to Asia in the physical, they were forming in the physical. Before that, they were a high ethereal place. Now you have physical.
Islam.
No.
Slow.
Islam.
Islam.
The Quran said, where was the first part of physical man formed? In the Garden of Eden. So what that is saying is that the physical part of man was formed in the Garden of Eden. And they said, what was the modern name given to their children? They said Asiatics. Being as Asiatics, we were in a particular geographical location so they can learn about who their forefathers come from. Because it says, give 5 names to the sins of Adam and Eve. Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and beast. So before they took on their lower self, they were called Asiatics. because another word for Asiatics is angels. We are those angels, the same as Asiatics. We're the same people who are the children of Adam and Eve, who were taught the principles by the great God Allah, who put them in the Garden of Eden, which is in Asia, Islam.
Islam, hold on 1 second. I was going to give someone else a chance. Anybody else would like to share their thoughts on that? Once again, going into, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, we're going to deal with a state of meditation before we answer, because we want to give a scientifical explanation behind what we're saying. You know, we don't want to come from a believer state, you know, and we don't want to come from an ignorant state. So once again, make sure your answer is in harmony with science, if you can. Islam. So that, like the lesson tells us, we want to raise our thoughts. So don't give us a first heaven answer. Try to raise your thoughts to what this is really telling you.
Islam.
Islam, Brother Osman.
Islam. This is the Garden of Eden. Where is Eden?
The question is yours, bro.
The Garden of Eden is Mecca.
Islam.
Eden is a high etherical place where it's not physical yet. Man has always existed, but he has not always existed in the physical form.
Okay, so bring clarity to what you're saying. So I think I know what you're saying, but just give it another, explain it a little bit different. So someone who doesn't know nothing about this, how would you teach them or explain that to them?
Eden?
No, not necessarily. The question is, if they went into Asia, where were they? And where is Asia? Pertaining to, what is the difference? Why are they telling you that they went into Asia? That means that they had to be somewhere else.
Well, the Elohim created everything that is. Therefore, they were not created yet, in the physical form. They were still in a spiritual form, but they had not been created in the physical form. And Asia is Earth. Actually, it's Earth.
All right, we can go with that. Cliff?
Islam. You got to go back. You really got to listen to the scriptures, because it says Adam and Eve were created in the Garden of Eden. If you look in Genesis 2:11, it tells you that the Garden of Eden is alongside the Tigris and Euphrates, which is in Asia. And the Garden of Eden is the river of it extends from Armenia down to the Persian Gulf. So we look at that particular geographical landmass. It all was called Asia because Asia is a modern name. It says it's a modern name given to us. Asiatic is a modern name. But all that is considered the land of Canaan, which is called Mecca. Because all these names but it was much broader to what we perceive it to be today. Because the land of Canaan is a land, when they were told to go to the land of Canaan was a land that was encompassed, because it said, what's our nationality? Moorish American. Why are we Moorish American? Because we're descendants of Moroccans born in America. What kind of flag is a Moorish? It's the red flag with the 5-pointed green star in the center. How long has that flag been governed for? Over 50,000 years. What does the 5-point represent? Love, true peace, freedom, and justice. So when he's telling you that Mecca was the land of peace that Adam and Eve were in, and those descendants who existed for over 50,000 years, that means that we were here for over 50,000 years, representing those principles of love, true peace, freedom, and justice. So the principles on this flag represent those principles that we stood on for 50,000 years, until we received the name Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and beast, which is to receive the teaching of something we knew nothing about, Islam.
Recapping that, before we let's narrow all of that down. Question is, where did they go? The answer is into Asia. So my question becomes, where were they? Now, Ozma gave his demonstration on how he sees that particular picture. Does anyone else have anything to explain about, or a reference point of where were they? This is all your question is. I'm going to go a little bit further before you answer. It says, what is the modern name given to the children? All right, so they say Adam and Eve went into Asia, right? So then it's saying, what is the modern name of Adam and Eve's children? Their name is Asiatics, right? It says, who is guarding the holy city of Mecca today to keep the unbelievers away? Angels. What is the modern name of those angels?
Asiatics.
All right, so you're right back to Asiatics, right? What is the shade of their skin?
Olive.
Are the Moorish Americans any relations to those angels?
Yes.
Yes, they all have the same father and mother.
All right, so now let's recap the story. Why are we Moorish American?
Because we are descendants of Moroccans born in America.
So we're descendants.
Yes.
That's the key here. Just for the simple fact that we're descendants. So the Asiatics are descendants of who?
Or the Moorish America.
Adam and Eve.
Adam and Eve.
Adam and Eve, son.
So the question is, we're talking about descent, and we're talking about nationality or geography, right? So the question to answer where was Adam and Eve coming from, you got to know their native land. You got to know something about who they are, because the lesson is telling you who are their children. Down to us, we can explain our lineage, go back to Adam and Eve, but the question is, who was Adam and Eve?
That's all. Teach me.
We're saying that they're the mothers and the fathers of the human family, and then we're saying that they went into Asia, but we don't know where they came from. You understand what dilemma we caught with? We're saying we came from someone, but don't know where they came from. That's a problem. Shati.
Islam. First I rise and give praise to the Father God of Allah, and honors to the Prophet, and honors to all that's present here and online, Islam.
So,
The question, the answer is in the question. The question is the answer. It says clearly, what place on earth was the physical part of man born? In the Garden of Eden. It says, where is the Garden of Eden? In the land of Canaan, in the city of Mecca. So Mecca and Canaan are one and the same. It's, Mecca is in the land of Canaan. And then it goes on to say, it said, who were Adam and Eve, and where did they go? They went into Asia. The whole entire world is Asia. The origin of humanity was right in the Yucatan Peninsula, right in Mexico. So the land of Canaan and the city of Mecca is right here, Islam.
no, Islam. Brother Irwin.
Islam is one of lies. We give honors to the great Father God Allah, to the Prophet Noble Jew Ali, to the Grand Sheikh H.L. Bey, to the Grand Sheikhs Nika H.M.L. Bey, to the Assistant Grand Sheikh, the Assistant Grand Sheikhs, those here, all of the Sheikhs and Sheikhesses, those members here online, all across the world, Islam.
Islam.
The Prophet has said, by the guiding of his Father God Allah, to save my people who have fallen from the unconstitutional laws of government. I bring that point up because there are two selves, the higher self and the lower self.
All right.
Man was first formed in the physical plane in the Garden of Eden. Therefore, you have the higher self and the lower self in the physical plane. The higher self protects the city of Mecca. The lower self went out into the world. The higher self stands on the constitutional principles that has been established by the great God Allah. The lower self does not stand on those principles. That's the world. So when I see the children went into Asia, when they went out into Asia, Adam and Eve, to me that's them coming out of the consciousness fold of the constitutional laws of Allah and operating under the falsehoodness of man. And that's the world. And the Prophet wants to bring us back into that constitutional fold of thinking, into that constitutional fold of government, because then we'll realign our ethers to the spiritual plane of angels. Therefore, we can and shall protect the holy city of Mecca, which is here today.
Islam. That was a good demonstration. And you have different I don't want to use scenarios, but you have different explanations behind where I'm going with this. And that's one of them. In fact, that's more of a common explanation of what you will hear in the Moorish consciousness. Sometimes when Moors are active and they're on their square, you hear older Moors talk like this. Then you ask about, oh, what happened to such and such, or where they been at? I haven't seen them in a while. Now, older Moors will tell you, oh yeah, they went back into Asia. Because what they're saying is the same thing that you just explained. Asia represents the lower realm of consciousness from that perspective, and that has truth to it. So when you hear, although that we might say, like we've been branded Negro, Black, and Colored. So by us claiming our Asiatic descent line, that's actually a better or higher status or vibration than Negro, Black, and Colored. So you hear people talk about they Asiatic and we claim an Asiatic descent, or they want to replace Asiatic, or replace the word Negro, Black, and Colored with Asiatic to show a higher consciousness, which is true. But now as you get higher in this understanding, you also understand that Asia represents the lower realm. So once again, all depending on who you're talking to, how someone understands what consciousness level you're dealing with, they're going to take that from different ways. But somebody put Asia up here as if it's the highest realm. You understand? Because some say Asia means the light, which that has some truth to it as well. But now this is what we're going to break down here today, because we need to come to this understanding of what we're saying. Osman.
Islam. I rise and give praise to Allah. Honors to Noble Drew Ali. Honors to my Grand Sheikh. And honors to everyone here. Islam. Who made you?
Islam. No.
Allah.
No. Osman.
Yes, sir.
Pardon, so I thought you was asking a question. Go ahead.
Allah breathed forth the triune Allah. Triune Allah breathed forth the Elohim. On Friday, man was formed into flesh, and on Friday he departed out of flesh. So if he was formed into flesh, what was he before that? He was part of the Elohim. Before that, he was part of the triune Allah. Before that, he was part of Allah. Man and Allah are one, no doubt or contradiction. Islam.
Islam. Alright, here's what we're going to do. Science, right?
Islam.
So we're dealing with Adam and Eve. The question is, where did they come from? Right? So that's really what we need to get to. So if they went into Asia, which is considered the world, then does that mean that they're not from this world? Or they're not from Earth?
Exactly.
What is this? What did I just animate right here? What'd you say? Polarity. Polarity is true. But I'm going to give you some hints so that the answer can get more scientific. And this can be proven. So Adam is positive. Eve is negative. Right? So in the simplest form, Adam is considered a man, right? According to scriptures. And Eve is considered womb man, right?
Yeah.
It's showing you symbolic scenario, right? So woman, womb man. Man, woman. Positive, negative. So if we go back to this polarized part of the scale, or the polarity that Brother Emmanuel spoke about, we also can put under here masculine and feminine, which is the same, we understand. But man and woman is gender, which is still polarities of something else. So the beginning is not man or woman, which Brother Ozma had explained earlier. But he used the term spiritual. It's just that's not enough to explain it. Adam is the first physical man. But the reason why Adam is the first physical man is because Adam does not represent a man.
No, it doesn't.
And Adam is also atom.
ATOM.
So remember, you're talking about characters here. You're talking about allegory, because we're talking about a biblical story, right? But we need to know where the biblical story came from. So you're talking about allegory. So Adam, as a man characterized, represents something else, no different from Denzel Washington in the movie. He's not Denzel Washington in the movie. He's a character acting as someone else or on behalf of someone else, right? Same thing with, that's how you read scriptures. When you see a name in scriptures, remember, it's not John, it's not Jesus, it's not Moses, etc., it's not Adam. Those are characters representing something or someone else. So Adam is not representing a man at all. That's why we can't figure out where they came from, because that is the nucleus of Earth, the Garden of Eden and the land of Canaan. That is the first physical place. That is the essence of where man was formed. So prior to that, it wasn't Earth, period, which we came to that understanding because Brother Osmo gave that to us. But now we still got to explain who was Adam and Eve, or else we won't understand none of the story. Yes, sir.
Islam will bring more clarity to what I'm about to say. We are made of fire, air, earth, and water. Fire, air, earth, and water. Protons, electrons, and neutrons. Atom is ATOM. Adam, they say it's the first man, but we know man is not masculine, man is feminine. And actually Eve is not negative, it's actually positive, because there are no male eggs in nature. So so the true mystery still lies, where did womb man come from? Where did womb man come from? Because we are the sons sons of man. We came from that womb that is the true Garden of Eden. It's the womb of the female is that Garden of Eden, which she's both fater and mater, matter and the fat of her. So now, so now, having to understand that, knowing that Adam and Eve are both Adam and evolution, Atom, and evolve. It goes back to the first lesson that's in the fall of man. So like once you understand that, then you understand where Adam and Eve come from, which the Bible is nothing but allegory illustrated by illustrious symbols. So Adam and Eve is symbolic to evolution in the physical form, Islam.
Islam. And also, even though we say what is the name of the first physical man, right? So even if we go according to the story, it tells you what happened in the garden, right? Well, Adam still comes from Eve.
Yes, of course.
You understand? So the focus point becomes Adam, but really understanding science, Adam comes from Eve, or came from evolution itself.
Islam.
But now we go back into atom.
That's right.
What is an atom? That's a question.
Electron, proton, neutron. It's the electrons rotate around proton and neutron, which are the nucleus.
All right. Islam. Now we're getting somewhere.
They are the building blocks for all life.
Islam. Now, see how it starts making more sense?
It's love.
Islam. Brother Emmanuel, you had your hand up?
I'm gonna say kind of the same thing. I'm gonna say single unit.
All right.
unit of
Single
light.
unit.
Of life or life? Life.
Oh,
So let me ask you a question, sisters. What is a woman? Just how do you see yourself? Like, I mean, not just, here on earth, just scientifically, whatever the perception is of self. Because this is important for the men and the women.
Yes.
Because we're on this chart and you're on this chart.
That's right.
A woman is
Together, we're on this
You
chart as
understand?
one.
Amen.
That's what we eventually have to get to, the consciousness of it's not being duality anymore. It's only duality in the flesh. But predating the flesh, where Adam and Eve came from, there's no duality. Which we have to get back to that. So this is the whole symbology behind marriage, union.
That's right.
This is why man and woman is supposed to marry. What that means that they're supposed to unite
That's right.
and become one, where they become no more gender. And that's really symbolically what life is about, man, woman, and child, because the uniting of man and woman, consciousness and vibration creates and regenerates. Islam.
Islam. That's beautiful that you said that, because what we don't understand is that there's things taking place that the physical eye cannot see or behold. And when a woman's pregnant, based off she enter her stages of pregnancy, you notice that the body itself is reanimated from the ether that's already here on the planet. So when a woman's pregnant, her cavities open up and she breathes in those dust particles. That gives her the ability to reanimate the baby with the physical characteristics, as we know it's called melanin or carbon. But like in the movie Lucy, we understand that consciousness takes form on the spiritual man.
Yeah.
Whereas it comes down to the mother's womb, like the prophet said, from the womb of our mother were rebellious and wavering. From the lungs of our fathers we inherit our instability. Because we're going to be looking at it from the physical side of the equation. But the actual question becomes like, Sheikah Mango just showed me a picture of a placenta outside of the baby's, at the side of the womb. You know what I'm saying? And it shows you that the placenta is the nutrient that the baby receives. But it's not in the stage of a human being. It don't look like, it don't have 2 arms, 2 legs. but there's life-giving properties within that placenta. So the question becomes, what was the life form of that entity prior to it coming to the plane of the same main manifested? And that's thought manifest. It's able to take what form it chooses to be. Islam.
Islam. So moving forward, like I said, this is not just, we don't want to just agree to stories. We don't want to accept what's been told to us through any school of thought, through any institution, through any book. We take what's said and we break it down. That's the object of this. That's why we're here. As we get in this and be in this for a while, this is things that we should know or in a search to know, because we're trying to find truth, right? We say truth is Allah. Truth is God, right? When it's all said and done. So in all the world, there's only two things. What are they?
Truth and falsehood.
And what is truth?
Truth is art. It's art.
What is falsehood?
Falsehood is not. It's a manifesto of art.
So falsehood is color, which means something that appears to be something that is not. Correct?
Islam.
No.
That's what that is. So we don't want to live in the falsehood, meaning that we don't want to exist under illusions that seem to be something that they really are not. So we don't want to be like other people who will just subscribe to a thought pattern but have no understanding of that thought pattern, because the reality becomes color or falsehood or not, all the same. So we don't want to be believers, because a believer is one who thinks that something is true,
Islam.
or thinks perhaps that it is true.
That's right.
So a believer has doubt and is not aware, not sure about what it is that they believe. So we know belief is the first step, though. You understand? So first you got to believe that what we're saying to you is right. You got to believe that what Noble Drew Ali is teaching is correct.
That's right.
That's the first stage of this. You believe that you are Moorish American. You know, you got to believe that the reason why you coming here is because you believe that this is truth.
Right.
You believe in proclaiming your nationality. You believe all these things, which is the first step. That's first heaven, belief. But after you start to unfold into this, then the belief starts to go down.
That's right.
Belief becomes obsolete, and then you know that you're Moorish American.
Right.
You know that that's your nationality, and you'll be able to prove it. You'll be able to break it down scientifically, not necessarily from Scripture's perspective. You can break nationality down from a Scripture perspective. That can be done. And that should be done for people who only know that language.
Right.
But then when you deal with scientists and lawmakers,
That's right.
then you can't come from that
Come
anymore.
from that.
You got to come from the board with it,
That's right.
because that's what they know. And that's how they know that you know who you are and who you say you are. So when we say we're honoring our mothers and our fathers, honor thy mothers and thy fathers, that thy days be longer upon the earthland, Asia, that the Lord God Allah have given thee, which chapter 1, like he said, tells you how you descended here,
That's right.
where you created the earth. You created this existence. You created the molecules around you through the distortion of the murky ethers of the flesh.
That's right. That's right.
So you are that Adam that created this
That's right.
through carnal thought and deed. Remember, Adam or atom, you're dealing with energy.
That's right.
You're dealing with a chemical reaction here that takes place in thought, which Brother Osmo was touching on when he said spiritual.
Right.
Because when you say spiritual, that word is vague, because people think spirit means different things.
That's right.
When you're dealing with spirit, spirit just means air.
So, space.
So when you say someone's spiritual, what you're saying is they're an air being.
That's right.
But most people don't understand what that means. They're not using spiritual in that same context.
Using dogma.
You know, they get a book and read a book, and now they talking about they spiritual. Or they go to classes of yoga, and they'll tell you they spiritual. Which that doesn't necessarily mean that. But when you say that you're spiritual, what it means that you're supposed to raise your vibration, your vibratory rate.
That's right.
Where you're vibrating at a faster rate. That's what spiritual represents. And the higher or the faster you vibrate, like light. Light is spiritual. But nobody won't associate it with that because they don't have understanding of it. God is spiritual. The elements are spiritual. So when we say we're spiritual, once again, we're supposed to be dealing with the elements. We're supposed to vibrate with the elements. And this is why I was saying that what are angels used for?
Carry message to the four corners of the world, to all nations.
So scientifically, what is that saying? If someone is following my thought pattern on this, somebody break that down to me scientifically. Or how do you use an angel?
It's all without manifesting the flesh. That the action, what that is actually saying is that practice what you preach. If that's why I said, did the angel get the child that will call Jesus a holy name? Yes, but it cannot be used by those who are slaves to sin, because it's a vibration of what that name means. You know what I'm saying? And that same, it says, or what are the angels used for? To carry messages to the four corners of the world. So their job is to teach truth, to teach love. And this is the same pattern that prophets follow in this demonstration. This is the reason why he tells us what Jesus said, what he do, all men must do. So we are angels because we all have that same type of vibratory tone that we fell from. So it's
Islam. That's it?
Like if I'm following this right, angels is angles. I'm looking at it from angles, east, west, north, and south. You program your thoughts powerful enough, which we know power is just an illusion. So you program your thoughts with force from all four angles of the earth. You'll be able to generate what is needed. So I'm looking at it from the angles, not just angels. We are the angles of the earth, east, west, north, and south.
Islam. Hosman?
It's can I come back for a minute?
Islam.
Just try to, so we can keep on going. Just try to deal with my question. You have something dealing with the angel?
No.
All right, Islam. Emmanuel.
The angels, we have to look at it as a season, your season. To bring some form of wisdom. The message that it is that for you to vibrate with that season, certain things in which season. So that's the message. Get in tune with the season. For angels.
Islam. Brother Terrence.
Angels beings of light, having the light symbolic of knowledge and energy. So the messages can be the currents which we sent out all to the four corners of the earth.
All right. Islam. So let's stay there for a minute. Let's back to the questionnaire because I'm going to show you how. Don't just read over this stuff and look at it as religious or institutionalized or lower vibration or lower consciousness. I'm going to show you how these questionnaires deal with life. And he's teaching you this for a reason. So you can explain who you are scientifically. And so others can understand who you are scientifically. What is an angel?
The thought of Allah manifested in human flesh.
I heard two different things. What is an angel?
Angel is the thought of Allah manifested in human flesh.
All right, so it's wrong. So listen to the answer. An angel is a thought. Forget what it said after that.
A thought.
An angel is a thought. So then it tells you manifested in human flesh. But the flesh is not the essence of the angel,
Teach
It's
me.
the thought.
right?
Islam.
And what is our prophet to us?
He was an
Angel of Allah sent to bring the everlasting gospel of Allah.
So he's an angel of Allah,
Islam.
not an angel of the flesh.
Teach more.
Of Allah.
He's a thought of Allah
Allah.
manifested in
In
the
you.
physical form, yes, but just saying in the flesh. And his job was to do what?
Carry message to the
Carry
four
message to
corners
the
of the
No,
world.
No.
Oh,
Yes, that too,
Yeah,
but
that too.
according to the lesson.
Save the nations from the wrath of Allah.
Uplift all of
What is an angel?
Angels
Thought
are
of Allah
manifested
manifested
in
in
the
the
flesh.
flesh.
What's angels used for? To
Bring
carry
the
message
message to the four corners of
to
the
all
earth, to
nations.
the world, to all nations.
And what is a prophet to us?
He was an angel,
Angel
of
of
Allah,
Allah
who
sent
was
to
seen to
bring
bring
us
the
everlasting gospel of Allah, and to also
So-
bring
Exactly,
four corners
that's what I'm
of
trying to
the
get at.
world.
So he was sent to bring us the everlasting gospel of Allah, right?
Islam.
And what is the everlasting gospel?
It is the saving power that comes from Allah, from an ancient fathers by his prophet.
And last week, for those who were here, what did we say the saving power was?
And there's a lot of different answers.
Truth.
Let's narrow it down. It's important. Because we only have the meetings and have lessons to remember them, so we can build upon them. So I know some of us might not have been here, but for those who were, just give me a brief on what we said the saving power was.
Truth.
Islam.
But that line man is one.
That was one of it. He said truth. Erwin.
I say saving power is the higher self. That's the saving power because then you're transforming yourself from the lower into the higher vibration plane, and then you're coming in tune to the thought of Allah.
Islam. I'm gonna let Cliff answer this one because it's everybody is right, but the lesson gives you a brief breakdown on how you should answer this. What is wisdom?
Wisdom is the consciousness that man is one with Allah, and that Allah man is one.
So, that's the answer. Right?
Why not answer?
Because the front cover of the Quran tells you to do, what did Drew Ali do? Or what was he here for? To redeem man
From the sinful and fallen state.
from the sinful and fallen stage of humanity
Back
to the highest plane of life with his Father, God, Allah.
Know thyself. And Allah.
That's the consciousness that Allah and man, God and man is one. That's home. That's your native plane. Once you return home, once you return to that consciousness, then you're home. You're back home.
Teach me.
That is your native plane, which is outside the physical.
Right.
It's outside the flesh, outside the physical. That's leaving Asia.
Islam, teach me.
We descended to Asia. We fell into Asia. Remember that, according to the lesson.
Fell to the earth.
But our job is to evolve from Asia.
Become one again.
Yes.
This is why the prophet said in the first two opening statements of your one, who made you Allah. Can you see him? No. So in the place you can meet him in the heart. You know what I'm saying? He lets you know that you even attempt to look at it from the physical standpoint,
Can't see it.
you can't see it. You're missing it from the jump.
Exactly.
Islam. Yes, sir.
And those are the false teachings that are being taught outside to our Asiatic brothers and sisters, and not just our Asiatic brothers and sisters, to people all over the world. I was watching the Pope's dissertation. Over 1 million people came out in the Philippines. Over 6 million. I'm not being
Being nice.
exact, but millions came out to actually see this old man tell them about Jesus came there for them, yet he couldn't save them from an earthquake that just happened. So see, when we fall victim to these false teachings, these are the things that Allah, Mother Earth, sends down upon us, because we are all her children. This is why the prophet said we all need to learn to love each other. He said, though I come for the Asiatics, I am my message is universal. We come to teach all. We should all learn to love instead of hate. He didn't discriminate against Catholic, Jew, Protestant, whatever. He said we all. And if you don't take heed to what is being said through me, from Allah, through me, the worst is yet to come. Yet you see it unfolding right before your very eyes, the prophecies.
Islam.
Islam. Islam.
Islam.
So we're going to stay up on this note here because it's all about self.
I love this.
It's all about, because remember, with us, all members must do what?
Proclaim their nationality.
Nationality.
All right, so once we proclaim our nationality, we are teaching what?
Others
Their nationality, their divine creed.
Islam. So we're teaching our people their nationality, which deals with their allegiance to a body politic, to a government body politic, to a jural society, a political community, a nation state, a geographical place on earth that has a constitutional body politic, right? So that's what your nationality entails. Everyone has a right to their nationality, right? So these are part of the human laws. But it also tells us that we're teaching our people their divine creed. That goes into something a little bit different. Still deals with that, but it goes into something a little bit different because now it's dealing with your divine creed.
Teach them.
The essence of where you came from. Remember, a person can change his nationality. You can go move to somewhere next week. Your nationality changes. Don't forget that, what we're dealing with here. One thing that does not change is your descent. Why are we Moorish Americans?
Because we are descendants of Moroccans.
Exactly. We're not Moorish We're not Moorish because of where we live. That's something different. We're Moorish because that's our descent. We're Moorish American because of our descent and where we live. Did everybody understand that? Anybody didn't understand that? That's important. We're Moorish American as a complete statement. There's two different things. When you say Moorish American, it's two statements in one. When you say you're Moorish, you're only saying that that's your descent. When you say you're Moorish American, you're saying that my descent is Moroccan, but I live or I domicile here in America. That's what you're saying. So that becomes your nationality now, because that's your present condition. But if you go move to somewhere else, say you go to move to England, or England, right? Then your nationality at that point is not Moorish American. So we need to understand geography and how nationality / citizenship comes into play here. So when we proclaim this, we'll understand what we're saying, because people are going to challenge you. What are you talking about, you Moorish American? What does that mean? We don't acknowledge that. What's that, a religion? Was somebody made that up? What were you talking about? This is how people come at you. So you got to know what I'm saying to be able to scientifically back it up. And then you'll be able to correct their thought process on, well, what do you say, national? Why? Number one, we went over this before. They don't use nationality here in America. There's a reason for that. Anybody know the reason? That's a question, Brother Terrence. What's the reason? Exactly. It will expose them. Who's them? No, I wouldn't say that. Give me more specific. Give me a chance. No, no, you can finish.
It would expose what they hid.
You said they. Who's the they?
Colonies.
Who?
Colonies.
All right, I can go with that. Brother Irwin.
I would say they are the entrepreneurs that came here, and they go under Act 6 of our divine constitution and bylaws.
Mm-hmm.
You'll know that they represent the slave owners.
Exactly.
At
Exactly.
the time of slavery, from 1779 to 1865, during the time of slavery.
That's correct. So exactly, and Brother T was saying the same thing. They're colonists. Now I want to use that term colonists for a second. What does that mean? Yes, sir.
To occupy, take hold, and just to.
No, you're there, but let's get to the root of it. Can somebody give me a legal definition of colonists? If somebody else knows, they can exercise as well
Yeah, you can.
until he finds a definition. Manuel. I think that would be more you're describing what they do. But define it from what are they? Or what does that mean? What does the term colonist mean? Let me go from that. It has a different impact. Osman.
They're part of a larger body.
No, what does it mean? What is meant by the word colonist?
A colonist is a group of people that are part of a larger body.
You're right, but does that define it? We'll find out. You got it for us, Shatif?
Yes, I got it. Actually being paid. In a second, it's got to
Mm-hmm. And you might, Shika's got the Black's Law. I was going to say you might can get more into it. Has everything to do with why we're here.
Right.
Drew said that I gave you everything it takes to save a nation. He said, now you take this and you go save yourself. And he said, I gave you what you need. He even said I had to come through the back door just to give you what you need. So you got to understand, because some people get frustrated with this. They don't have patience, and they say, well, why is this stuff coded like that? Why I got to be going through these questionnaires and talking about the everlasting? Why does it saying all that when you can just come right out and say what it is? He explained that. He said, I had to come through the back door to give you what you need. Remember, you're dealing with, like Brother Osman's definition, you're dealing with a group of people who are a part of a larger group of people. So you got to understand that this is who he was up against. His opposition to bring this information to you, he was under scrutiny, he was being watched, and he was being attacked by a large group of people. So he says, I had to come through the back door to give this to you. So he couldn't just make it very obvious on what he was giving to you or what the effect was going to have. He had to do it in a manner where it's ambiguous. To the point of today, it's still ambiguous to a lot of people. To us, sitting here like, well, I don't think it means that.
Teach more.
And the other person said, well, you saying that wrong. It don't really mean that. It mean this. But you see how we keep going back and forth, and that's for a reason. It's healthy. Understand? Because he told you it's going to take you 50 years or better just to understand what you're dealing with.
That's two answers.
Yes, Emmanuel, what you got?
A company of persons from the same country sojourning in a foreign city or land. Foreign.
Islam. So the key word there is foreigner, right? Yes, sir.
Mr. Bill, Brother Emmanuel said, a colonist could also be known as a settler.
Mm-hmm.
So especially like if a foreigner settling on a different land,
Mm-hmm.
that's my take on it.
And we still haven't mentioned something yet within this that's very important.
I have one here, tab on.
Yes, ma'am.
But this is a definition of colony.
That's what I want.
Okay. It says a dependent territorial entity subject to the sovereignty of an independent country,
Mm-hmm.
but considered part of that country for purposes of relations with third countries.
Mm-hmm.
This is it here though. A group of people
Mm-hmm.
who live in a new territory but retain ties with their parent country.
Mm. So a group of people who lives in a certain territory but still has the allegiance to their parent company.
Explains the
Or their
taxation
parent
that way.
country, I'm sorry. Now you see the difference?
Yeah.
This is why the lesson said, man knows not by being told. You gotta know this stuff. Because even back to what Brother Irwin was saying, that these names were given to slaves by slaveholders, that's one thing. But it's deeper than that. Who are these slaveholders? They're coloners.
Right.
They're not from here.
No.
That's very important.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So they call back to what Brother Terrence was saying, those slaveholders colonized your territory. That explains why they changed everything.
I don't need it.
The parentage and the aboriginal indigenous people of the land is not going to change everything around. They created it. In fact, when you dealing with a national name of a group of people, because somebody questioned me last week on this, or why did the prophet name it Moorish American? And the legal ramification behind that, when you got to understand, when you go back to common law and customary law, especially Muslim customary law, you will understand that a tribe or a nation of people has the sole right to name themselves. So when you go into the ancient times, the name of the people were the names that they chose for themselves. Whenever a group of people choose a name for another group of people, that's under colonization. The only time you name someone else outside of their own will is during the time of slavery. So you got to understand that how you became known as Negro, Blacks, and Coloreds was dealing with colonization. That was from a group of people who are not even from here that did that. So on to today, why would we accept names or a name from people who are not even from here and don't really owe their allegiance to here? That shows the mental state of the individual. And that mental state of the individual is called a slave. Only a slave will accept a name that was given to him from a slaveholder. No one else. So when we use these names in the public, they treat us as slaves because they know that if the shoe fit, wear it. Yes, sir.
See, this goes back into when Washington wrote to the Sultan, Betsy Ross, to come up with the Star Spangled Banner so that they can do commerce on these shores.
Mm-hmm.
This is still the Moroccan Empire. This treaty is always renewed every 50 years. And the prophet understood that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he said we're descendants of Moroccans and born to America.
Mm-hmm.
He understood that this here is the kingdom of Morocco, but loaned to the colonist settlers that came upon here to ask permission. So like if you know that, then this is what you could also use when you're doing your documents to lawmakers, because they understand all of those. They understand all of those facts that America is still Morocco. Before that, it was Al Morocco. Before that, it was Meru, Mulan. Still the same land. So this is why we are Moorish Americans, the only true Moorish Americans.
Islam.
Also, it's beautiful that you said that because, like I said, Islam has been such a powerful weapon in the hands of our Muslims for what we're trying to do, because it shows you that even the Quran speaks about, the Turks speaks about when the Turks are the true possessors of the Islamic Empire or the Moorish Empire, starting from Muhammad the First, going 7 degrees of Muhammad, born in 576 AD. Then it ends with the one they said when was the head taken? When was the head of the state taken off? 1453 Byzantine. By who? By Muhammad. They deal with another degree of Muhammad Mehmed, who built Constantinople in 1453. So it just shows you that the name, the degree that name or the vibration that name was dealing with was in the transition in regards to the uplifting of true Islam in America, what it stands for.
Islam. And this is why we don't use the term Africa.
Right.
We use it, but understand the divine origin of it. Because once again, you're dealing with invaders.
That's right.
So when you get to the term African, when you call yourself African, you're saying that you're a colonized people.
That's right. Islam.
So you got to be careful because language, or what we call, when we put words together, or letters together, we call it spelling, right?
Spelling, yeah.
So when you utter the word, you're still spelling.
You're still spelling. Right.
So whatever your reality is of a certain word, or a certain sentence, or a certain phrase, you're under a spell when you say that. It's like you're hypnotized.
That's right. That's right.
So we speak and we utter, right? We make sounds and vibrations based on our reality.
That's right.
And we're not making these sounds and vibrations based on the harmonics of the body and the earth.
Deals is God.
Our tones is off.
That's right.
And we got to understand this.
That's right.
So when we keep verbalizing certain things that our slave holders taught us,
Right.
then what we're saying is we're still subject to the jurisdiction thereof. That's what the 14th Amendment was created for.
Islam.
They created the thought pattern. Then they created the legal amendment, even though it's not properly ratified. They created the amendment to harmonize with the mental condition that they created. And it became a match. So regardless if you proclaim 14th Amendment or not, if your mental state matches with it, then you become subject to it by default. And that's how they created this thing. Yes, Brother Osman.
Islam. I kind of know the answer, but I wanted to clarify for everybody here. We are Moorish Americans because we're descendants of Moroccans born in America. Moroccans. Do you mean Moroccans of the Moroccan Empire or Moroccans of Morocco?
It's a question?
Yes.
You want the answer?
What was the answer again?
We're descendants
No, he
of
didn't. He didn't give the answer. He asked
Yeah,
the
what was the
question.
Yeah, we're descendants of Moroccans born in America. We're descendants of Moroccans of the Moroccan Empire, not Morocco.
Islam.
So,
And if you study the history of, starting from Muhammad of 576-32 AD, you notice that that in just a short time of 60 years was able to stretch from what they call Mecca, which is in Saudi Arabia, over to Northwest Africa, which is where our kingdoms are recreated. Right, because it says that Tariq, you never heard of Tariq Ibn Ziyad, which was a Moor from Morocco. This is the one who went and conquered Spain for 800 years. So it's, and even when you're dealing with Mali or Ghana or Songhai, these were Moorish empires that started, because we had three dynasties. You had the Umayyad dynasty, you had the Almorid dynasty, and you had the Al-Ahad dynasty. All that transitions from 711 to about 1400 BC. So it shows you that our history as Moors transitioned all the way from, we were Moors, Muslims, whatever you try to,
Turks,
Mohammedans,
Arabs.
we're the same people. The only, if you read chapter 45 of the Holy Quran, Circle 7, it tells you that, lists all the names of the people, but when you read the opening degree, it talks about we all need to know our higher self. This is the purpose why the Holy Quran was actually created. This is the purpose why the Circle 7 Quran, to bring it in unity with what the Holy Quran was trying to demonstrate to those people back in that era of time. Islam.
Islam. Now, I'm going to take you a step further. Because I'm going to send you right back into your questionnaire with any questions did you bring. He asks, why are we Moorish Americans? Yes, the answer is we're descendants of Moroccans and born in America. Well, where does Moroccan derive from?
Moroccan Empire.
No.
Moabite.
Oh,
Moab.
right?
So see how that changes the dynamics?
Yes.
So the Moroccan Empire is one thing, but we're predating that.
Yes.
No.
That's still not the origin.
Can I clear that up more?
Because now you got to get into what is an empire. So your roots is not the empire. Something created an empire. That's like saying the government, the free national republic of the United States of America. Like we came from that. We didn't come from the government. We are the government.
That's right.
And in fact, the people had to exist prior to the government structure being formed. So when you say empire, you're only speaking about a government structure and their dominion to rule. But that's not the essence of the people, so it still predates that.
Can I clarify that?
I think it's
no.
clarified, brother.
Well, I can go a little deeper.
All right,
So
well,
you get the
give
people,
it a shot.
because it says that, we're dealing with our forefathers. It said, are the Moorish American in relation to those angels? What it say? Yes. Why? Because we all have the same mothers and fathers. But who are the mothers and fathers? Adam and Eve, right? But then the Gospel it said, give a brief line of genealogy when Jesus came. Abraham, Boaz by Ruth, Jesse, King David, Solomon, Hezekiah, and Joseph by Mary. So it's taking you from Abraham. Where did Abraham come from? Abraham came from the land of Eden, which is in Samaria, which is the same place where the Tigris Euphrates is. It's the same place where the Garden of Eden is. It's the same place where the land of Canaan is. It's the same place where Mecca is. So this is the reason why when you read chapter 45, when the so-called Israelites made that transition from their homeland here, he was trying to let them know that when you come back to the understanding of yourself, don't deal with your lower self like you were doing in those times and eras when you were carrying those names. Islam.
Islam.
Man, please.
As far as back as you can go.
As far back, I can go even further, but they ain't ready for that right now. Cause we on the plane that they may manifest it. It said man will regain this lost state, but it must be done in the conflict that cannot be told in words.
All right, Islam. Brother Irwin, you have something to demonstrate? All right, Islam.
I think I just fell out my head, I'm sorry.
All right.
It's coming, more.
So once again, he explained the allegorical line genealogies, but that's not the essence. Remember, that's symbolic of something else. So when you go back into Moabites, you got to understand something. Moab is from the land of what? Moab.
Moab.
Now you got to understand Moab.
Can I go into that?
Remember, the name of the land is after the name of the people. So who are the Moabites?
Islam.
Yes.
The Moabites are the ancient which is us. We're the ancient Moabites because we're the ones who come from the land of Moab, which is in the land of Canaan. So if you look at the land of Canaan, most of the history with the wars of Constantinople was fought in the land of Moab. If you watch the movie Kingdom of Heaven, they're fighting over a castle called King Kerak. That's called the Moabite castle. So it shows you that even dealing with Noah's history, that goes back to the land of Moab. You notice when Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed, which is called Babylon, right? That goes into the Cushite history. But when it was destroyed, who was saved? Moab. Why was he saved? Because Moab means of my father. So it's telling you that if Moab's mother was called Milcah. Milcah married Nahor, who was the brother of Haran, because Haran died. Nahor had a son called Laban, who birthed Leah, Leah married Jacob, who birthed his 6 sons, which Judah came through. So if it wasn't for Leah, there would not be no genealogy of the genealogy of Jesus, which was Judah, Islam. So Moab is a deep family tree. That's a royal family. We don't understand how royal that is.
Islam. All right. I'm going to get into the science of Moab.
Yeah.
Islam,
Islam.
everybody pay attention. Moab is coded
Teach more.
Moab is a code word. So what he explains only is recognized and hold weight in scripture or allegorical lessons. But for someone who, or a group of people who don't subscribe to that thought, you got to come from somewhere else with it.
Teach more. Line it up.
Remember, before the scriptures was created, there was already a thought pattern that created the scriptures. That's why it's the greatest story ever told. We're not lying about that. But once again, when we say that we are descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and the southwestern shores of Africa, that's the whole of Mexico. So you got to understand what is really being said. What he explained to you, or who he explained to you, were the Moabites. But the prophet says we're descendants of the ancient Moabites. So now that's two separate Moabites.
Two separate Moabites.
Take us back.
Just like Moroccans, when we say we're descendants of Moroccans and born in America, we're not talking about the people, the Arabs who dwell in the country known as Morocco today. So there's a polarity to that too. There's a duality to everything that we're dealing with.
Teach more.
So when we go back into Moab, M-O is also M-A.
Ma.
Which also represents matter,
Yeah, matter.
which is that receptive or receiving principle, or what they call the negative principle of the scale. Mother. Ab is father, or Abi, or Abba is masculine. So Moab is the land of the mother and the father. Masculine and feminine principle, or Adam, evolution. Adam and Eve, that's Moab. You understand? Prior to the flesh, prior to the fall. So this is how we're descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the earthland.
That's right.
Period. This goes for certain people who want to pull rank on certain territories, and like he was explaining, there's always been a pedigree war with the children of Abraham.
Teach more.
And this is what the so-called superstitious Jews, this is what they try to pull rank and say, well, they are the direct descendants of Abraham. And they're saying that the birthright that they're receiving is based on their direct ancestry going back to Ham. So you understand that we are the Hamathites. We are the Hittites. And we are the Amorites. But still, that's playing the biblical war game. Outside of that, we are Allah and man. Like Jesus says that I am the God-man of today. And who your forefathers were, you are today without a doubt or contradiction.
Teach more.
So when we make these statements, although it appears that we're playing the biblical game, but we're really not. We're making claims to the highest rate, vibratory rate of this planet. And people who know, and people who you call Illuminatis and all these other people, elite societies, wherever you want to go with it, they understand this already. So when you make a statement, like we can talk this talk, and you know, you get into religious controversies because some Christian minister or somebody who's going to try to pull rank on you and want to battle with you because he feel like you talking his language. But really, you way past that. That's why the prophet says don't even deal with religious controversy. Don't even debate with him about that because you're saying something don't even apply to him. He think that that's his jurisdiction because you talking about Abraham and John but that ain't even he's not even on that level.
Islam.
You're speaking to those who know it from another language. You understand what I'm saying? So your nationality was declared and proclaimed and strategically laid down based on science, not based on the scriptures.
Islam.
That's one reason they can't touch it. That's one reason when you go in there standing on your square demonstrating who you are, people on the higher up know what Moorish American is. It's the people who on a lower level don't know who Moorish American is. That's where most of your conflict comes from. The people who understand this want to make sure you really know what you're talking about before they honor it. That's the difference. Islam.
Islam, and I want to add on, to that. Like I said earlier, men get it construed with no offense, but like the Pope and all that stuff, they put up men, like they dress them up in fancy garb and use them as Allah. But Allah, like I said, Allah is a feminine principle. There's no, the only true negative in the masculine is her sun. The sun that shines is micro prosopis. And the moon that shines is macro prosopis. There are some days you can come out and see mother and son out at the same time. She is macro. She is positive. She is feminine. Macro is lesser than. So, like a lot of men call themselves man, you can't be man unless you become one with Allah. Because she is 99.1% whole. We're only 1% of what our mother is, who created us, son of man. So like in the marital sense, when man and woman do unite, that is the true marriage, which represents the triune or the triangle, which mother, father, and son. So therefore, honor thy mother and thy father. You're honoring both. The men can't become titled father unless they take care of the duties of the household, which you read in chapter 7, Islam. So let's not, please, let's not get it misconstrued when you say man is masculine and no, man is feminine. The sun is micro, man is macro. Islam.
All right, Islam. Finishing up on this thought of Moab. So Moab goes back to mother and father, or I am from my mother. But it also, based on when you erase the duality of this life, Moab is one.
That's right.
It's not mother or father.
No,
It becomes one,
One.
which is self.
Self.
So Moab really is self, when you understand it. So you are a descendant of yourself.
That's right.
You are who your forefathers were without a doubt or contradiction, right?
Themselves.
You are Allah and man.
That's right.
Allah and man is one, right? That's Moab. Islam.
This is why I love the verse in the Quran that says, "Know thyself, the line uniting divinity and matter." Because it's letting you know that you man is mind. And mind is here became perfection by the things he suffered on the plane of soul and the plane of things made manifested. So all these things have to be interpreted within mind.
That's right.
Through reasoning. The in her search is truth. You know what I'm saying? But it has to be done through reasoning and experience. Without a forward soul should never know the strength. Islam.
Islam. Osman.
Islam. Moab, mother, father. Would you therefore say that Moab is it where the Garden of Eden was?
Yeah, but now we're going back to a lower vibration.
Low vibration.
I was just going, they named physical places on earth Moab.
Okay, so.
But I'm speaking about what it really goes back to. Just so that we can understand it, because so many people say it but can't explain it. And some people stray away from it because it sounds biblical. Because they think that they're subscribing to a Christian thought pattern by saying this or repeating this. So some people don't want to associate with that part of more science because they think that they're trying to is making a Christian reference to who they are.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm trying to, take it away from the scriptures for a second.
But when you were referring to the woman as evolution, were you talking about the force? Because within a atom, there are electrons, and that force, that gravitational pull, the magnetic pull, push is already there. So that's where you're preferring the evolution.
Matter is where
Because
your
before-
form comes in at.
It's
So that's just another principle or element behind explaining life force and elements when you're dealing with matter, or what
Yeah.
you would say light and dark. And and you get into all these polarities. You gotta understand when you're saying positive and negative, not saying positive as good and bad, like
Yeah.
Shatik is saying, but when you're dealing with the principles of as positive and negative, or
Yeah.
masculine and feminine, and it's like Mars. Like last week's lesson, we explained about Venus and Mars.
right. You got to come.
So we're still talking about the same principle here,
You're right. Yes.
where Mars is positive or masculine because it's aggressive in nature.
Right.
It's gravitational, like you says. Its energy is masculine. It's forceful.
Right.
Where Venus is receptive. It represents love, receiving, the nurturing aspect of the polarity, just like mother, just like the womb. The womb is nurturing. It nurtures. That's the job of the womb.
That's right.
You understand, which is also symbolic of the job of Venus. So when we was talking about, I don't know if you was here last week, but we had this demonstration about how they say that men are from Mars and women are from Venus,
Yeah.
because they're dealing with the principle of it.
They're dealing with the principle.
Not that man and woman come from two
Right.
different places.
Right.
But once you understand science and principle,
Then you understand.
then you understand in any other story that was ever made by man.
Right, exactly. I don't care how they tell it.
Islam?
So,
So, to cap off today's lesson, chapter 45, going into your Holy Quran, deals with the origin of the Asiatic nation. You read it, get an understanding on what we delivered today. Also get an understanding on what the prophet was making reference to when he said the Asiatic nations of North America need to learn to love instead of hate. He explained to us the divine origin of the Asiatic
That's
nation
right.
in chapter 45. So it's important that we recap it, go through it. The first line tells us the fallen sons and daughters. That's another polarity. Son and daughter. That's principle. So when we speak, we're never talking about the physical son and his daughter. We're talking about principles. The fallen sons and daughters of the Asiatic nation of North America need to learn to love instead of hate. And like it was said earlier by Brother Irwin, and know their higher self and their lower self. What did he say about that? This is the uniting of the Holy Quran of Mecca. That just sums up the whole thing. Once you understand those principles, that's the uniting. Remember, like Cliff just said, the line uniting, right? That lesson, understanding that lesson and becoming one with it, is the uniting of the Holy Quran of Mecca. Because the Holy Quran of Mecca is not the book.
No, it's you.
It's not a book. It's not the Hadith. It's not even the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple. The Holy Quran of Mecca is you in your higher state of mind.
Yep,
That is the Holy Quran of Mecca.
Father, Holy Quran, Mecca.
And those angels is protecting your holy city to keep the unbelievers away. You're not even protecting it because you don't know yourself. You understand that? Islam.
Islam. I'm glad you said that because the one-on-ones are interpretation of what chapter 45 is actually saying.
That's right.
He slowed the ethers down for those who are coming in on the first degree. But as you understand it from the first degree, as you move to the second, you read that chapter, oh, wow, that's one-on-one the same. So it's beautiful.
Islam. And last, Islam.
Yes, this will be quick. Grand Sheik, you mentioned, the Asiatic nations. What was probably a reference to? That's why I said my principles are universal. We all need to learn to love instead of hate. Speaking about the Mexican, Nicaraguan, Colombians, and so forth and so forth.
Yes, sir.
Filipinos, all those who are part of the Asiatic nations.
Islam.
Islam, that's
Now, verse 2, well, capping off verse 1, it says, "This is the uniting of the Holy Quran of Mecca for the teaching and the instructions for all Moorish Americans, etc."
etc.
You understand? Like he's saying that it's universal, but really because we've been colonized here and stripped of this information, it first and foremost is being taught to us. But the message is universal. That's why he says etc. It's for the teachings and the instructions. So, like the lesson tells us that the teacher must conform himself to the questionnaire. Let every member exercise the 5 senses those who are able to do so. Because out from the Sunday school comes the guidance of the nations. Right? For the teaching and instructions, this information is how you teach someone, and this is how you give someone instructions to learn and to study. So this is all of our lesson for the day. That when someone comes to you and want to know, what's that hat about? Why you wear that on your head? Or what's that nationality card? Why you say this? Why you say that? When they want to be taught, you have to bring it like that. You understand? From that scientific perspective. Because that's the way you set their soul on fire. That's because although that they might accept it no matter how you bring it, but the impact of it and the heights that they can go with it, they gotta understand it from that perspective eventually. So you're stunting their growth if you don't bring it like that. Because we have a lot of people who refer to themselves as Moors now that can't explain none of this. And because their instructions wasn't right, they're out there doing whatever, getting in trouble, creating all kinds of confusion, and they put themselves in jams that they can't get out of. And even today, if they really understood this stuff, they would be in a temple right now. Correcting the temple, participating in a temple, they would be doing something positive pertaining to a temple. So you already know who's doing what. You understand? Last thing. It says the key of civilization was and is in the hands of the Asiatic nations. The Moorish, who were the ancient Moabites, and the founders of the holy city of Mecca.
Islam.
But once again, it's not talking about the physical place of Mecca. Although the Moors was the founders of that city too. But you got to understand, Moorish is not just making reference to the Moroccans or the Moabites or the Moroccan Empire. You understand? Anciently speaking, Moorish, etymology speaking, goes back to the word Mo. And this is what some people say, well, I'm going to claim my ancestry because I might not be Moorish. I might didn't come from Morocco. I might have came from Sudan. My parents might have came from this. And people always going around things, but really it's our fault.
Really?
Because we didn't properly explain this. We kept coming from a scripture perspective. So because they're trying to disassociate with the scriptures and all of this, like they say, oh, I study Egyptology, I study this and that. So, because it don't say nothing about Moorish there, then they second guess it. When you got to understand that was also put there by the slaveholders.
Teach more.
If you say you study Egyptology, that was coined by the European slaveholders. You got to understand that. Egypt was colonized too. So you got to understand a fraction of the information that's put out there in different schools of thoughts are being instructed by agents. So you saying you're going to that source because it looks more authentic and it doesn't really support the idea of Christianity, you don't understand you've been duped on that side too. The same person that duped you with the Christianity thought pattern also duped you with that pattern.
Same with the Jews and every other.
And got you second guessing the truth. You got to understand what this really means. Then you'll understand back to that Moorish, or where it comes back to M-O-O-R or M-U-U-R, all depending on what language you're speaking now. So we speak in Moorish because it's the language that we identify with. It's the dialect we speak right now. But Moorish is still Moorish and different dialects spelled differently. They also refer to this as the land of the Mu. You heard Brother Hakeem Bey talking about that years ago, referring to this as Mu Atlantis. Mu is also Mo. Mo is also Mu or more, or M-U-U-R.
That's right.
So you gotta understand this goes deeper and deeper and deeper. Islam? Yeah, Johanna?
Yeah,
Islam.
just shortly, just to paraphrase, camouflage, the prophet said, the great God institutes a law for the government of the world. Wherever knows being each creature by his nature conforms to his will. So going back to what you just said, dealing with the identity of who we are, the prophet said in chapter 45, which you were just explaining, the key word is what Brother Urban just said, that we need to learn our higher self and our lower self. You know what I'm saying? Because as you read the chapter, it lists all the identities that we were as a people, always sitting from Egypt on down to Africa, on up to North, South, Central America, to who we are today. So what it's saying is that no matter what we call ourselves, if the higher self teachers are not spoken of, then it's confusion. It causes confusion because look how many things are done under the auspices of what we call truth. The prophet said how many evils are committed by the connivance of the law, how many crimes decreed by the council. We don't need no instructions. We should know what to follow, but because of our inconstancy, that's why we have instructions. Islam.
Islam. I said Mo, right, is Ma. I said that already, but understanding that's also a code in secret societies. M-A is a code. If the women look at their buttons, it has M-A on the front of it. And then it has the symbolism of the crescent and the star.
That's right.
That's a code. In other secret societies, mother or Ma is a code. So you gotta understand that that's also coded. Where they mimic this, but they put it in code words. So you got people referred to as Masons. Masonic Society, right? Our question is, who made you? We say what?
Allah.
Allah. When they ask themselves, where do you hail or who are you from? Their answer is, from my mother.
That's right.
But there's a difference why they say that versus what we say. But that's a code. When anytime you're dealing with mother, mother is the stargate of civilization.
That's right.
So when you say who are you or where you from, even on a lower vibration or a lower realm, you're from your mother. But mother is not just mother as the one who gave birth to you. Because all mother is one. That's when you're going back to that Eve demonstration, the evolution, which is Allah. So we just put it in proper content and we take it further. When we say who made you, Allah, not my mother. Although our mother made us, but our mother, properly speaking, is Allah.
That's right. Yes, he is
Or
Allah.
God.
Or God.
So what you're saying is, I am from God. Or I was created by God, but in a higher sense, you are God. Which means, once again, you created yourself. So once again, just understand the symbolism and break the codes within what you've been taught. Because within the codes is the truth of who you are. And that's what you proclaim. You proclaim the truth. But you got to know it and be able to explain it, because even though the higher societies know this already, they know who you are. Like they only understand or recognize a free man. Because remember, this nation has been enslaved, right? So once you really understand it, no one is entitled, according to their inner law, no one really is part and parcel to the Constitution of the United States but them. When you really understand how this thing was put together under the reconstruction of this new nation. They went and did without the customary laws, the old laws. They put it in Act 6, Article 6 of the United States Constitution, to let you know it's still a part of the land. So that becomes a Masonic code. But it's up to those who know how to tweak the code and hold them to the code. That's how you bring the Moorish legacy and status back into it, is by understanding where you meet with them at. If you don't understand how to meet with them, and when I say meet with them, it could be in the courtroom, it could be at an agency, it could be at the county clerk's office, it could be at a police station, it could be at your job, it could be at the corner store. If you don't know how to meet with them, then they're going to acknowledge you as a slave. Unless you're able to hit them with some type of symbolism to let them know that you've been freed by them, or you've been freed by your own. But they only acknowledge a free man by those who was able to crack the code and understand these lessons. To them, that's what a free man is. Until that, if you don't have knowledge of this self, then you're not free. And that's what they're really saying. So a Mason is a mother's son, according to their language. And a Freemason, according to their fraternalized buddies, what they're really saying is a man that has been freed.
That's right.
And accepted by the ones who freed them. So they refer to themselves as free and accepted Masons. Those are the only ones that get constitutional due process, according to them, unless you went through another route, which is through the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. They only acknowledge those two statuses, or those two emancipations, I should say. Because it's fact that we was enslaved. So they're saying you was either freed by us or you was freed by him. And when you really understand that, do some more research and you'll understand the type of opposition you're getting out there and why. Islam?
Islam.
I was supposed to do a call for membership at 3:30. I apologize. I kind of went over into this lesson. But we also always give the opportunity for one to proclaim their nationality if they would like to do so. If they do, because of time, they can get with Sheikah Nika right there at the desk, and she can assist you with the process of proclaiming your free national name and religion. If not, we're going to close out and we'll do a collection after the meeting is closed. But we'll also ask that we just take into consideration the additional laws and the order to read proclamation at each meeting. Please memorize these things and study them on your own time. So now we ask all members rise and face the east. I'm going to ask Sister Monica to close us out, please. Rise on 7, 5 on the left, 2 on the right.
Islam.
Islam.
May Allah
May Allah
bind our hearts and minds
bind our hearts and minds
back to our ancient forefathers.
back to our ancient forefathers.
Divine freedom principles.
Divine freedom principles.
This we ask.
This we ask.
In thy holy name.
In thy holy name.
And the 7 Elohim.
And the 7 Elohim.
Amen.
Amen. Islam. Greet your brothers and sisters. The peace and love. It's love.
Now see, everything I was going to talk about. You talked the chapters and everything.
We was right on point.
Right on point. Islam King. Everything you talked about was what I was going to teach you today.
Yeah, dropping off for you.
We gotta.
Yeah, you did teach it, brother, through me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Take China
Islam.
from her mother.
You're not even.